Hi everyone. So I'm back again like 2 hours later. But so so I was getting ready to paint my nails, which I never do, but I thought it was New Year's, which doesn't have to do with the subject, but look at my nails. It's like I got it from Christmas in my stocking. I'm not really a nail painting person, but it's supposed to be scented. It doesn't really smell. Whatever. So I was watching videos, like book videos, and I was like, you know what I should do? Is today's New Year's Eve and New Year's Eve day. And I should do a video of my favorite books of this year and stuff. Cause I've read like 20 to 30 books this year. I tried to make 50, but didn't really work out. Try again next year. Woohoo! But yes. So so I went through my Goodreads, and oh yeah, and you like the Christmas tree in the background, or this way? Yeah, I like my star. Uh, and sorry for the bad lighting. It's dark. So I went through and found 15 books that I read in 2011 that I gave 5 stars at the time. I didn't really reread like do the summary and all that, so go with me. Okay, so the first one is Weather. I read, and none of these books I won't have with me. So just bear with me. This is like a on the go type video. So Wither. Wither is, I think it's gonna be a trilogy. Only one book is out, and it's a dystopian. And this year I really got into dystopian because before this year, sorry, I have my blanket. Before this year I only like romance. So this year I kind of went out just a little bit out of my circle, and dystopian was a really good, because I like dystopian is action packed usually, but it always has some romance in it. And so Wither was about this girl, and dystopians are like about the future, what the future could be. And so this girl, she basically got kidnapped and to be a sister wife. And if you don't know what that is, that's where a husband has more than one wife. And yeah, they're all equal and all that. Some of them, but this place it is. So the husband, I think his older wife was dying, because girls die at like 18, I think, and guys die at 25. I don't remember. And so she was dying, and his dad got her these 3 sister wives, and one of them, like, this was a fairy tale to be a sister wife. The other one was just like, whatever, I could die, I'm close to dying. She was like 17. And, I don't really want to be here, but I don't want to be anywhere. And then the third one, which is the main character, she wanted to go back home. She was willing to risk her life to go back home to her brother and stuff like that, because life is a dangerous time for girls, and she just loved her brother to death. And so yeah, so it's kind of about, and then so she kind of starts a romance between, of course, her husband and this other guy. And he's like, because this is a palace that she lives in. That's why one of the sister wives thinks it's a fairy tale, because it's a palace. There's cooks. There's, the norm is to wear a dress, and it's just like a big deal. So one of the cooks, one of the servers, his name is Gabriel, I think. Don't quote me on that. But maybe that's another reason why I like the name Gabriel. So he starts this like friendship / romance with the main character. And I don't remember the main character's name. Sorry. But yeah, the main character that wants to get out, and so they do this, and they want to escape, and da da da. So it's really action packed. You don't really know what's going to happen next, because you don't know, if they'll escape, then they'll die, because there's just, it's a really good, stayed me on my feet. I think I read it in a day and a half. Yeah, I read it really fast, and it's pretty thick. It's like 300 to 400 pages. So if you like dystopian, or if you like action, or if you like romance, really pick it up. All these books, unless I say differently, are YA. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Okay, so I'm sorry, I'm freezing. Okay, so the next book is The Summer I Turned Pretty, which I have, but I want to get it out. And it's basically a book and a trilogy of the Summer I Turned Pretty series. It's just that series. And it's just really good. It's one of those cheesy romances. I didn't read a lot of cheesy romances, because since I did read a lot this year, I kind of split it up between dystopian and cheesy. But yeah, this was one of the cheesy ones. It's basically about this girl who every summer she goes to this like house cabin type thing, and she meets her two guy friend. So every summer she goes to this place, and she has two friends that are more like cousins to her, and they're her mom's best friend's kids. And she's been going to this place ever since she was a little kid. And this year is different because it's the summer she turned pretty. So there's some romance happening. And so yeah, this is a whole series. I've read the whole series. I think I've reviewed this whole series. But because I didn't like the last. I didn't like how it went, but I liked how it started out. So this book, if you want to read it as a lone book, I think you should. The whole series I would recommend, just to see if you like it or not, because a lot of people did like it. But yeah, I was a fan of this one, so that's why I did give it 5 stars. This next one is called Speak, and this one I read like just a couple months ago. Later end of the year, I guess September, October, that time of the year, and I'd wanted to read this because this was on my recommended reading list for 9th grade. And it's an older book. I thought it was newer, but it's from like 1998 or whatever. And it has a movie on it, and actually Kristen Stewart is the main character, and it's this girl who something happens at the end of the summer, and she has a friend, she has a good life, but then once something happens, she basically kind of like, I don't really want to tell you because they don't reveal what the big mistake is. They just kind of say it was at a party. And until like towards the end of the book. But yeah, so something happens and she basically only speaks when she absolutely has to. So much that her parents don't really notice. And like she does speak in class, but only when she's told to, only when she's spoken to. And it's kind of just a girl's life as a freshman, and I could relate to this a lot because in my 8th grade year was kind of like this. And, so she's kind of dealing with being the outsider, and it's a wonderful, I don't want to say depressing, but it kind of is, but it's a really good learning experience, and I really recommend it to the younger audience. Sorry, that's my cat. Because just, like that age, like teenager, I wouldn't recommend it to like older people. Not older people, but adults that like reading teens. I guess it is okay, but I found I related to it a lot. So yeah. The next one is Something Like Fate. This one was definitely a romance. You can tell by the title, but it was a little different than most romance. It was more down to earth almost. It was about this girl and her friend, and they were like, she kind of played the role where she stepped back, they were just best friends. And then this girl, then her friend got a boyfriend, and, her best friend ended up liking the boyfriend, and the best friend is like the main character. And, so then you go through that experience. But something I liked that was different was the best friend was into astrology, which I'm kind of into a little bit, and also very into recycling. So it was kind of like a 70s hippie type book, but it was really cool. It was like the author wrote it like I think in the 2000s, so it's like up to date. But it was really cool and kind of showed you different parts. So it is a romance, but it's not like a girly romance. I didn't think not like The Summer It Turned Pretty. Okay, now the fifth one is a book that a couple people didn't like. I think it was like a you love it, you hate it kind of book, but I loved it and I would recommend it. It's The Skies Everywhere. Oh yeah, and another thing about this is most of these books weren't published in 2011. I just read it in 2011 because if that were the case, if they were all published, then most of these books wouldn't be on this list. Okay, so The Skies Everywhere is kind of a little older of a book, I think, early 2000s, I guess, and I loved it. I mean, like I wasn't really gonna read it because I love reading 65, I think it is. Martha, she didn't like it at all around the same time. She reviewed it around the same time that I was reading it. But I mean, I loved it because, well, I think one of the reasons why I loved it so much was because, and I did a review on this book. I did a review on most of these books, but but it like inside the book, like it had like inside the print and stuff, it had notes, like not like taped on notes, but just like notes that looked like it was taped on because it was a chapter book. But and I like that, and like what would happen is she was going through a hard loss. I don't remember exactly what she was going through, but whatever it was, she would write down a note. Oh yeah, it was her sister. Her sister had died, and you find it out in the very beginning, so it's not a spoiler. And so she would write down like something that she remembered of her sister or something like that. And she would just put it everywhere. She would write down in the bathroom. She would write down trees. She would write it everywhere. And it's very inspiring if you want to be a writer or if you are a writer. And it's a romance story, but because of the writing aspect and of the death aspect, it's more of a sweeter, almost Romeo and Juliet like. Like no one dies after the sister dies, but it's just like such a sweet story, and I would really recommend it. It's not that long, 100 to 200 pages probably. I got it from the library, and it's just fun because afterwards I was inspired to write more little notes, and it was really good to read. So yeah, I read that I guess in the middle of the year. Shatter Me, which I read. This is the sixth one. Okay, Shatter Me, which I read not that long ago, just maybe about a month ago or so. Maybe not even that. Was awesome. I just found out there's going to be a sequel, which will be in my other list that I'm doing right now. But I am just like, Shatter Me is coming. So, Shatter Me was a dystopian. Again, I like dystopians. It started out, and this one of the main things I liked about this book is I'm growing as a reader, as not my vocabulary probably, but as in things that I couldn't really use to pick out of books, I can. Like before I read it, when you're in first grade, you have to learn how to say the words. But like now, and then you learn how to comprehend and all that. But after you learn how to comprehend, you think you're a good reader. But once you start picking out the writing styles, which I've started picking out, oh, what's wrong with this book? Why don't I like this book? Is there too much detail? Or, those things that really make you a good reader. So Shatter Me really, so when I figured it out, I was like, yes, that's it. Shatter Me, the good thing about Shatter Me was I could tell the character's growth. Like at the beginning, the writing was very depressing. And if you don't know what Shadow Me is about, it's about this girl who, if you touch her skin, it will shock you, just like torture you. And once it tortured a 2-year-old boy to death. And so she gets locked up in this just like kind of like a mental hospital. If you've ever been to a mental hospital, it's just this room, and she has one pair of clothes. They give her food, it's just very, it's like how the mental hospitals were in the old days. And so at the beginning, of course, like, it's just a very depressing book, and not depressing, it's just her voice is depressing. But then as she grows, at the end, it's just a very happy, and you could tell she grows throughout the book. So basically, what happens is she is in this cage type thing, and it's not cage, but and then she meets a guy, and then a bunch of things happen, and yeah. So basically, I love this book mostly because I love the writing. The writing was awesome. It was so much action-packed, and I don't usually like action-packed, but I think I like it more in books. Like, I don't watch horror at all, but I think I might be able to handle it in a book. I don't know. That's another topic for another day. But I was like, there was action, there was depression, there was love, there was even some friendship, which isn't really in a lot of dystopian, kind of, but usually everyone hates everyone. So there was just like there is, like, I could very easily see this as a movie. Like, there was a scene where they were running, and I could really easily see it as, like, an action movie, like, those movies that you see. So, yeah. Now, the 7th one, I think this is going to be a 2-part. Because I have 15, and this is my 7th one. So I think this is going to be a 2-part video. Okay, so the next one is Perfect Chemistry. Perfect Chemistry was really good. I still haven't read the second one. It's a trilogy, I think. Is it a trilogy? I don't know. It's either a trilogy or there's companion novels. I think, pretty sure companion novels. Well, whatever. It's a love story. It's pretty, like, romancy type. But there is a lot of drama, so much drama that it's not really like total like summery love type-ish. It's basically popular girl likes a street rat boy, and they fall in love, and yeah. But why this was so good, I think, was because, okay, so racism coming. I live near a lot of Mexicans, Hispanics, whatever you want to call them. I'm sorry if you're one of those. I try not to be racist, but I've kind of grown up with racism, and I've been trying pretty much for my whole life. My mom and I have been trying, so my mom struggles with that too, I know, to not be racist. And so this book actually kind of put me in his position, the guy who is Hispanic, I think. And I mean, it showed like one chapter from him, one chapter from her, It kind of like, I'm middle class, but I live in a poor community. And so so I know, like, and I've had a lot of richer friends, because of the middle school / elementary school I went to. And so it kind of just really made me think, like, see a side of him that it was a really cool thing, to see the Mexican side. And I could tell, like, the writer really knows them. Like, it wasn't like based off, they're dirty, anything like that. So yeah, it was a good heritage thing. Okay, so I've done 7 out of the 15. So I think this is like gonna be like my first, if not second, 2-part video. I'm going to do the last 8, and maybe I'll get, probably not, because this is really slow. I'll get through the books I'm looking forward to reading in 2012 / hope to read. And so yeah, I'll see you guys like in a second. Check part 2.